Here are the top 5 new meta weapons to use for MW3 Ranked Play. At number 5 is the HRM9. If you're confused, 5 new weapons are being tested for the next week in MW3 Ranked Play. So I got you with the best class setup. Subscribe if this helps you out. And this SMG puts down a good amount of damage with high bullet velocity, but it's in the number 5 spot because its recoil isn't good until the end of your mag. The best class is here. We're going for the Princeps long barrel for bullet velocity and range. This makes it even better to the point of 624 for the bullet velocity, and the only real reductions are in the hipfire spread. Going over to the muzzle, we're going to scroll down to the Purifier muzzle brake to work with that horizontal recoil. If you notice in the recoil pattern, it initially jumps pretty far to the left before straightening out over time. This helps with that initial jump. Going over to underbarrel, we're going to scroll all the way over to the Chimera RYN03 vertical grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil control. This does make the horizontal recoil control a little bit worse, but since we're already benefiting it with the Purifier, you might as well throw this on. Over here to the rear grip, we're going to use the PCS90 assault grip for even more help with that gun kick control and firing aim stability. And then the very last for the stock, we're going to go with a hatchet light stock for aim down sight speed and aim walking speed with a slight reduction in recoil control. This gun is not my favorite. You need to stay tuned for those, but who would benefit most from using this is mouse and keyboard players and mid-range SMG players due to its high bullet velocity and range. And with that being said, we're moving on to class number 4 is the RAM9. The RAM9 SMG is the best of the 2 SMGs being added, and it is fast. So the best class is here. Initially, I thought we'd put on a barrel for the bullet velocity and range, but after testing it in the firing range, this doesn't impact the amount of shots needed to kill at close and medium range. So we're going to avoid the barrel altogether. We're going to go to the muzzle, scroll over here to the Purifier muzzle brake, the muzzle of choice for SMGs to help with that horizontal recoil control and firing aim stability. Your bullet velocity still is 460, which is about the same as the meta Rival 9 class, so this gun can still hang. Going over here to the underbarrel, we're going to choose the DR6 hand stop. This is all-around god attachment because it helps with everything and really only hurts your aim walking steadiness and hipfire spread, so there's no reason not to use this underbarrel. Now scrolling over here to the rear grip, we're going to choose the Retort 90 grip tape for firing aim stability and gun kick control, with the only con being aiming idle sway. Up next is the comb. We're going to choose the Recon comb to help with sprint to fire speed. This gun is already fast, but this makes it that much faster. And the main reductions are in aiming idle sway and aim walking speed, so this doesn't impact your aim or mobility that much. And now the last attachment, the stock, we're going to go with the HVS 3.4 pad. Further help with the gun kick control, aiming idle sway, firing aim stability. Slows you down a little bit, but it's worth it in the long run. Use this class if you're rushing in people's faces, you're hyper aggressive, you're up close. This class performs super well in close quarters because of the high fire rate and good mobility, so some of you are really going to enjoy this class. And now for class number 3 is the Holger 556. This gun is going to be the new go-to for S&D because it does have a 3 bullet potential if you go for headshots, and the best class is here. Starting with the barrel, we're going to go with a Cryo 6 match for bullet velocity, range, recoil control, and gun kick control. It's going to slow you down just a little bit, but it's worth it. While this gun does put a lot of damage downfield, its bullet velocity is not that high, so you need all the help that you can get, especially since we can't use ammunition types in competitive. So this barrel is a must-have just to bump that bullet velocity to 762. Going over here to the muzzle, we're not going to use the Billeted or the Purifier for the same reason I just mentioned. We don't want to make the bullet velocity any worse. We're actually going to choose the Cases brake. This essentially does what the Purifier muzzle brake would do, but instead of harming the bullet velocity and range, it makes the aim down sight speed a little bit worse. And we're already posted up with this AR, so that's totally fine. For the underbarrel, we're going with a DR6 hand stop for the same reasons as we've mentioned before. It helps speed up the gun, and it doesn't really have a downside. Going over here to the optic, we're going to choose the Mark III reflector right here for better precision down range. And then the last attachment at the stock is going to be the RB Adel assault stock for recoil control and gun kick control. And the best people for this class are accurate AR players who can hold lanes. If you don't miss with this gun, you literally won't lose, and the insane headshot multiplier only adds to that. And now for class number 2 is the MTZ. In my opinion, this is the best gun being added into MW3 Ranked Play. Use this class here. Starting with the barrel, we're going with the MTZ Clinch Pro barrel for bullet velocity and damage range. This makes it very competitive at 815. This is a faster AR, but the more help that you can have with your bullet velocity, the better. And the only downsides to this are hip fire and tack stance spread and a little bit of aim walking speed, which we're going to help later. Going over to muzzle, because that bullet velocity is so good, we're able to put on the Purifier muzzle brake we were talking about earlier. This is going to reduce that bullet velocity down to 750, which is still competitive in the AR category, especially like I was talking about earlier, how this is a faster AR class anyways. Up next, the underbarrel, you guessed it, it's the DR6 hand stop to make the gun a ton faster, especially with the strafe speed. Scrolling over here to the optic, we're going to go to my favorite, the Mark III reflector for better precision. We're not going with a rear grip this time, but we are going with the stock, the MTZ Marauder stock, which is over here. This is going to help with your recoil control, horizontal and vertical. So you throw that on, it slows you down a little bit, but the gun's already fast enough to where it can still perform. The MTZ performs really well at all ranges and technically has the fastest TTK at mid to long range, but that's only if you're able to hit your shots. So use this class if you're a fast AR or a flex player that's not afraid to get in the fight. And for class number 1 is the BP50. Ranked play will be 8 of this class all week because this gun is perfect for all ranges. The number 1 class is here. Going over to the barrel, we're going to use the Lore 9 heavy barrel to improve that bullet velocity all the way up to 885. This even helps with the gun kick control as well. And since that bullet velocity is so high over here at the muzzle, we're going to go with the billeted brake to help with that vertical recoil. Really the only recoil on this gun is vertically. There's not a ton horizontally, so this helps with that. Over here to the underbarrel, of course, the DR6 hand stop for better handling. We're going to put an optic on this class. We're going to scroll over to the Mark III reflector. And then the last attachment that we're going with for the number 1 class is the rear grip. We're going to use the truss grip tape for firing instability, recoil control, and gun kick control. Since this gun is so good, there's going to be a ton of iterations with this class, but this one ended up being my favorite. Anyone can use this class at any range and perform well, which is why this class is at number 1. Use this BP50 to hold lanes, use it to rush, it won't matter, just because this gun has no downside. Have fun and rank, subscribe if these classes helped, and I will catch you next time at lunchtime.